Doing this week. No, it's been a crazy week so far. Been a lot of movement all over the place in terms of price action. Hope y'all having a great day. Had to bump up today's class. Needed to have some schedule changes, so just trying to move some stuff around so we can get up out of here pretty quickly. I did take the opportunity to go through some charts and look at some setups for tomorrow. It doesn't appear to be a great deal that out there, but I think there's still some opportunities available for us to take advantage of. So I'm going to kind of move through this a little quicker than I normally do. And if you've got tickers, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We'll try to get through them all. So again, this is the 0-day class, expiration class, where we're focusing on identifying setups for potential trades to take tomorrow. And these contracts expire tomorrow, so they are highly volatile and they risky at the same time. So there's a high risk and also a high reward with these. But we believe we found a process that we could utilize that can help you consistently stay a winner in this kind of challenging day, as we call it, 0 days. And so I typically I go through the process of where I look for what's called continuation type of plays. So I'm looking for setups of trades that are of things that are already moving or in force in a direction. I particularly do not like, reversals, like trend reversals on like 0 days. I'm looking for something that's already in force in a direction, and I'm essentially catching a TTO to take that trade in the direction that it's already been moving for that period of time. And so I like to target the 4-hour as well as the daily timeframes to look for those setups. And just to expedite on time, we utilize some scans on the inside 4-hour scan, as well as like a 2-down daily scanner, as well as an inside scanner on the day. And then we kind of go through those tickers and identify and take a look and see what fits and what makes sense to us. And through that, I kind of refine that list down into, you see my 0-day list that's usually at the end or in the evening. So, and that's kind of the process we go through. It's about 5-6 steps that we take in utilizing that. So we typically go through the first couple here in the class, but broadening formations as well as analyzing your contracts, so should be also a part of this process. So without any delay, we're going to get right into it. And as I mentioned, I got to cut out a little bit early, so I want to make sure I get through all of the tickers here. So I'm going to be moving kind of fast today. But just letting y'all know right now, we're in this 4-hour scan, and we have a couple of tickers here that we see. What am I not? Something I'm not seeing right now. The list looks different to me, but we have a few tickers here that we can take a look at. I see PBR on the 4-hour. So let's take a look at PBR. I don't know if that's one that I would play for a 0-day, but we'll take a look here and see. Yeah, PBR's got a strong 4-hour candle. We had the gap down yesterday. So looks like we came in contact with the monthly level broadening formation. 888 was that low, and we closed the day inside, but we had a strong afternoon candle. So there is a potential setup for this one to move back to the upside towards the $10 range on PBR. And you've got the inside day setup as well. So that one doesn't look half bad, but you're fighting conflict on that one. So we'll see if there's something else that's a little more enticing for us. So what did I have? I know I took a couple before we left. So I saw a lot of energy as well as a couple of others. MRO was one that I saw on the daily time frame that I thought had a really, really good setup on the day here. I'm looking for a potential 322 back to the upside on MRO. Looking like we're setting up for a Friday special potentially. Your entry would be above 27.92. And yeah, this one looks very strong. There's a lot of sector strength. I saw a couple others that look pretty good as well, like COP. ConocoPhillips, similar setup to MRO 322 on the day. You're looking for an entry here above 112.92. Looking solid on those for the energy side. And then I saw a couple others. I want to go through mine really quick, and then we'll get to what else is in there. I didn't get to finish going through tickers, but I did get to go through some, just chilling out. But yeah, I saw this here as well in Dollar General. You got the inside setup here on the 4 hour. You would have an entry on the 4 hour above 247.67. And looks like this thing's been held up at this quarterly level broadening formation. So it looks like a potential TTL is going to happen, and we move back up towards the 253 range on Dollar General. And Las Vegas Sands and Halliburton with a couple others. Not sure I'm going to put all of these on the watch list. So if you don't see it again, just know I'm looking at them too. But LVS here looks strong. This is one that we've been in for a long position. We got in this one some weeks ago. It's been going crazy. Quiet as kept. But we got the 212 on the 4 hour here above 48.69. So this is what we talk about. When you're in these long positions, we saw the opportunity for the long position to move to the upside. And now, as you're monitoring a long position, you can go back in and say, you know what, this thing looks volatile. Ooh, this looks right for a short-term opportunity. So this is the things that we're talking about. You can go here and take advantage of a potential shorter-term move, not just for this one, just in general. That's kind of how we look at it. We take the longer plays, and then as we see confirmation of the volatility within that stock or that sector, that's when we're going. That's when we go attack with the shorter term, weekly contracts, day trades, whatever, floats your boat at that time. But we don't jump in first with the short term and then no. We start off with the long swing, and then once we get confirmation, we jump in with the more risky, higher volatility day trade or weekly contract. So again, LVS 212 here on the 4 hour above 48.69. Also on the day here, we've got a 2-2 rev above 49.11. So be mindful for LVS to continue to show strength tomorrow. That one looks very strong. Really like the way that sets up. Who the hell knows what the hell the market wants to do, but LVS in its own microcosm looks very strong. So what I have here on the screen now is an inside 4 hour setup. I think the scan I was looking at earlier was a 2-down scanner on the day. Just looking to see if we had any 2-down hammers or anything that showed us some relative strength today. So here on the 4 hour, I'm looking for some, essentially in a macro sense, I'm looking for a TTO that I could take advantage of on the 4 hour. So we're looking at the Verizon, doesn't give us anything. Got wrecked today or just didn't have any sustained movement. We've got LI. And I'm not inclined to take this one either. This one is in the clear downtrend. And this thing TTO'd about a week ago, and is making its way back down. So we're gonna keep it moving. You got Tesla up here. Tesla don't never show nothing. So Tesla's at the bottom of a broadening formation, but it is also in a downtrend. And it didn't even hit the broadening formation, but it's close. So you've got Tesla. Not for a 0 day. I mean, the setup looks fire. It looks like it could potentially reverse, but I'm not taking trend reversals on a 4 hour for a 0 day. Logically, that's just stupid, and I'm not being politically correct about it. That's just stupid. So don't do that. Next one here is Vail. So if you see 18 out of 20 days of red candles, 2 down, and then the one day you see a 4 hour setup, ignore that shit. Don't let that sway you at all. Next one here, that's a pet peeve of mine. You're like, but it did this today. I'm like, what did it do the last 20 days? Okay, that should be a better indicator. All right, so next up on Vail. This is one we're in long as well. It's been hopping around. That thing been playing double dutch, jumping, jumping, jumping. Tomorrow it's not giving us the best looking entry. And we'll be right back into these broadening formations where we started about a week ago. It's right back in the same spot. But we do have the 212 on the 4 hour to the upside. So if you are in this trade and you see the move to the upside above that 1647 level, that could be an entry for a quick little trade if you want to take it back to the broadening formation at 1662, 1665. And if you feeling froggy, then you could probably take it up to about the 1685 level. And so with that on the day, it's 2 up on the day. But again, we're back in this cluster of broadening formations. Obviously, price is showing a lot of strength. Buyers are present. They didn't leave. So we're just going to have to sit through this fight through the broadening formation levels. But we know how Vail likes to gap up and down and around. So just hang in there. It'll keep going. We're looking for that big move come January. So that is Vail. Those are the ones I got so far. I didn't have a chance to get through everything. So yeah. So y'all throw me something out here. Let me see what we got. Trying to move fast, make sure we cover everybody's tickers today. Next one we got is Fang. My boy Chuck put in Fang. You was thinking the same thing I was, my brother. Energy came down to these broadening formations, and it just gave us some nice looking entries off of those lows. So I think the idea here is, and just to clarify, if you're looking at Fang's chart, even though Fang had a big boy drop yesterday, Fang technically is still in the uptrend. I mean, in the sense of like the month went 2 down, obviously, but as far as overall, you would look at this like a TTO. So if you're lining up your timeline for taking trades, and if you play rotations and macro timelines like myself, you see these highs and lows on the week candle. So what I see on this drop here is that we're TTOing to get ready to make our move, our winter seasonality move back to the upside, which should push Fang up into the 180 range. You see what I'm saying? And like Boss Gang talks about, they got to push the price down before they let it go up. So that's just something. And I deviated, but I just wanted to highlight that. But Fang, 212 on the 4 hour above 137.80. That looks strong. Looks like you'll get some movement up above the 140 range. If energy markets are strong, that's what's going to happen. And then on the daily, you got a rev right at point of control. Your point of control is at 138.39. Your level for entry is like 138.08. So you've got a little bit of synchrony there. So look for Fang to push up with energy. If the move for energy is strong tomorrow, the only concern is if it gaps up. That could be the one thing, is the energy gaps up because it's too strong, and then you miss the entry, and that's just a headache. I hate when that happens, but that's something we gotta live with. Sometimes when you're right and you picking the right stocks, that happens a lot. You're like, damn. So now, what is this? Pfizer, PFE. Pfizer looks like it's is it turning over? Is that what we're seeing on Pfizer? Are we seeing the turnover? We hit the high. Is it turning over? What y'all think? Nah. So Pfizer here, we got 2-1. What you looking for? 2-1-2 to the upside, or are you looking for a downside move route? I think from an overall trend perspective, obviously we're in a clear uptrend. So the idea here would be that if we do move downside on this Pfizer, we're going to move down to this broadening formation right here and then TTO right back up. That would be my thought process. We got a shooter. We can't ignore the bearish signs in the short term. So we 2-1-2 down to the broadening formation at 53, rev back up above 55, 56. But yeah, your entry looks clean. You could take that entry down to that broad information at like 53 flat. Similar deal on the day. It looks like the 4-hour entry looks clean enough to where you don't have to wait on the day. But the day entry is solid as well, below 53.40. Looks good. All right, I'm gonna turn it up. My Netflix puts. Oh, let's see here. Netflix hit some liquidity this afternoon. It fell through a volume gap, hit a point of liquidity. This will be all depending on what the market wants to do tomorrow. It looks like well, not XLC, but if Netflix is turning over. However, that could just be because of that broad information range. It's in the middle of the range right now. So it's like, if you got an actionable signal, then take it. I don't see one currently, but it looks to me that it's trying to turn over. And then tomorrow it goes back up, right? You know, but yeah, it looks like Netflix is trying to turn over to the downside. But about a week ago, it looks like, you know, I think what happens here with this one is like it's fundamentally weak. So it's been bought up because it's at low price levels, so it's attractive to buyers. But overall, the fundamentals are still weak on it. So the first sign of anything damages the stock heavily. That thing got wrecked. So yeah, more downside, more likely on Netflix, but there's no actionable signal. So if you're waiting on an actionable signal, which is what I recommend, then you're gonna have to wait for the open tomorrow to take an entry to the downside. So get your mace ready and your if you got a concealed weapon, you got to get in the ghetto in the morning. So just have all your equipment ready. But yeah, so that's what I look for tomorrow. I wouldn't blanketly just jump in and open. I would look for the actionable signal, go to a smaller time frame and identify that entry. But yeah, I see more downside on that one. Next week, Dave, Visa to the downside. It's giving us that signal. We got the shooter on the day. We're right at point of control. The afternoon said that there was buyers that were trying to buy it up. So what are we dealing with here? So we could. It seems like each time it's come to this level, we've had a bounce. We've had a move back up. So I'll be interested to see what happens tomorrow, or what the market does per se, because this one's going to be dependent on SPY. I mean, I can tell you about Visa and this and that, but like it's going to do whatever SPY is going to do. So if the market's bullish, you're looking 212 to the upside, above that 209.29. And if the market's bearish, then you're looking for a continuation below that 207.16. But this is going to be dependent on SPY and QQQ and all that. All right, let's go. Let's keep it going, man. Oh, you already in, bet. Well, you gravy then. MRO, yeah, the MRO be paying. Oxy, we know, energy. If I'm referencing the energy sector, Oxy's in there. It's not giving you the best signals like on a month and all that. And that's mainly because too many damn people done got into it. You remember last year when we was playing it? When nobody in there. We ran that puppy up from like 30-something bucks. Now, everybody and their brother want to play it. Now you get all this activity. Oxy never behaved this way. But I think the sector overall is going to be strong tomorrow. I think in terms of energy tickers, there's others that's stronger right now, stronger looking than Oxy. But yeah, I mean, it looks similar to some of the others in terms of the setup, but I think there's some others that are showing stronger signs. But the whole sector's strong to me right now. Alphapack, that's right. Adobe, So Adobe, we got a shooter on the week, fell 2 up on the month. Looks like we're trying to push down on this one as well. These afternoon candles, it's like we got a little bit of buy-in, but just brought us back to point of control. So this one looks potentially like it can continue to the downside tomorrow. But I think if you look at it from a larger perspective, this is just a big chop range. I can put all of this in the range. If I were to create a box around that, price has just been trading within that area. All right. Delta. So, damn, Delta. Sheesh. That thing hit those highs and got up out of there and went the other way. So, yeah, Delta's just hovering at the lows on the lower end of this broadening formation around 33 bucks. Again, if I'm looking at Delta for the put side, I'd be cautious to take an entry right below or right above a broadening formation. That's always like a red flag for me. And it looks as though price has been respecting that range. So I wouldn't want to take a put right there, just seeing what I see, unless you've got some additional information or a spot, you see spot continuing to pull down. And that was another thing I mentioned this week was we were pretty close to the bottoms of like broad informations on macro levels on a lot of stocks. So all this choppiness did was like bring everything back to it. You know, it brought more stuff down to its broad informations or even below. So I'm of the opinion we may see some reaction the opposite direction because everybody's bullish now. But anyway, looking at KO here, we put in KO, Marquise Bishop, let's go. So with KO, we got the inside 4 hour. We do like the 3 downs. We see those as bullish. So we do have an expectation that we should see some movement back to the upside. It looks like the selling was pretty strong on Coke, but we closed out the afternoon strong, created us a nice wick there. Looking for a 2-2 rev on the day back above that 63.89 level. And yeah, I mean, we like Coke. We're a fan. We think it does well. As far as for tomorrow, you need to monitor it. I just don't like where it's positioned within the broad informations. We had the same thing last week, and it did very well. Just busted through the broad informations, you know, gave some price action, but just be monitoring those trades when they're at those broad information levels, because they'll just hang up the trade. It may not stop the direction or even make your trade bad, but it may disrupt your plan, or it may, like, especially on the 0 day, you can't really like have stuff lingering. It's gotta move, you know, because of the delta or the theta decay. So you want things to move strongly, and if they don't, it's not so much about right or wrong or good or bad as it is you don't have time for consolidation. Yep. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, there's no entries on the month, and they're not going to give you any. They're just trying to push the price back down to the level it's supposed to be, because this shit's overpriced right now. And once they do, I've been asking for 75 for about 4 months now. I'm like, can I get 75 on XLE? If I get 75 on XLE, we're going rippy Q1, Q2. We're going off. So I'm just sitting here with like some expectations, like, man, y'all making it tough on me though. But we did get some downward movement, but not as strong as I would have liked. But yeah, 75 is like the level I want to see on it. And then I know like that is like exactly what that's exactly what the plan is. But we're not far off. So yeah, it's no, for me right now, the plan for energy is so I'm thinking of a big move, big rotation move. We're talking, you know, we're trying to do 10, 20x on stuff. So the next big play that we're targeting will be an energy Q1 type of play. There really wasn't one this quarter for Q4. It's just kind of it's been all right though. Q4 hasn't been bad. But you know how every quarter we have like we have major plays. Q4 just didn't give us the type of move, not yet anyway. We still got a couple weeks, but yeah, you kind of did answer your own question. But just understanding the cycle for that industry, we're really looking at for this thing to move going into next month, end of this month, going into next month. So anything between here and now is just gravy. Just, take advantage of moves upside, downside, take advantage of it if you can, but we don't have any planned courses of action for the group as it relates to energy at this very moment. Right now, it's just positioning yourself. Like if you're like me and you already have positions or you have shares and stuff like that, I'm just trying to find another buying opportunity to accumulate some more shares, potentially take some entries on some positions, for contracts I don't have positions in, type of thing. So that's more so what I'm looking at on energy. And honestly, I'm not really too aggressive with anything right now because I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm waiting for. So, as far as between here and now, if it doesn't align with the thesis behind the Christmas run, then I'm probably not going to play it because I'm preserving my capital for when I make my next position. I mean, sure, there's some smaller positions I'll take and stuff like that. Like I've been taking those, but for the large position, portfolio changing type trades, that once in a quarter type of trade, that's what I'm, and we do it quarterly, but it's based around rotation. So I would say for the oil might just be, doing research in terms of who's going to be affected by the embargoes, and then just, putting in your bid with the one you think is the right fit for you. That's kind of like my thought process. There's going to be a good number of them that perform well. So don't feel like it's one or two or even three. It's going to be it'll be a cackle of them. But there's going to be some winners and losers. So that's why we just got to do a little research. I think the first of the Russian embargoes hit December. Y'all think you think none of the Russian embargoes have been in effect. I hope y'all know that, right? They literally go in effect like 8 days from now. They've just been talking shit for 2 years. We're gonna embargo you, but they can't. It does have a major B up there. And also that's the point of control. Well, it's not the point of control, but it's just below the point of control on the week. But I just had some calculations to where that would be, there's a range of about like 73 and change up to about 77. So that's why I say 75 is my dollar. It's like the level I'm thinking. But 73 to 77 is the range. I try not to give specific dollar amounts, but yeah, 75. That is what's reasonable to me, and that matches up with the retracement levels and kind of how I've seen the pattern of behavior, for the last 4 or 5 years, So, no, absolutely. Yeah, so we're talking about, another big candle down to take us right here. That ain't number 1 week worth of work. So, hopeful that we can get something like that. Then that puts us in a super buy range on XLE. I won't be worried about huge retracements or anything like that. If we enter into rotation at like north of 85, I'm going to have an expectation for some retracements during the rotation period. And rotations are not for retracements. Rotations are not for retracement, so they need to get their act together in these next 2 weeks. Yeah, so you said Microsoft to the downside. That'll be the last one. We'll wrap it up. Yeah, I would agree. But again, Microsoft's dependent on SPY and QQQ and all that jazz. So that's really what your catalyst is going to be for this. The setup looks, it's like, hey, we TTO in the afternoon and we're going to push back down to the downside. But really, the whole callus behind that is what the market, what SPY and the market's going to do in relation to the Microsoft. It's just too reliant upon those for us not to. But looks like it's trying to turn over. I just don't believe it. It just seems early to me. So my whole thesis is all based on timing and consumer behavior. It just seems too early for us to turn over on tech. Tech never turns over this early. So it just doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know if I buy all this downsideness on all these consumer discretionary stocks and all that. Like that don't make sense. Go look at the high of the year on technology stocks for the last 3-4 years. It's like it doesn't make sense why we're at this level right now. That's more so what I think too. It's like they gonna squeeze the hell out these people playing puts, and we're gonna go the fuck off tomorrow. So yeah, so that would be my take on it and my thesis for what's occurring right now. But yeah, I think that concludes it for today. What I'm gonna do is when I get back to my screen, I will put my watch list together and get the recording. I may be able to get the recording up before then, but looks like we see the strength on the energy side. If it does give us what we're looking at, then we should have a strong day out of energy. And as far as a lot of these other sectors, with the exception of materials, it looks as though the other sectors like tech and discretionary are pushing or trying to turn over. But again, to my earlier point, it just doesn't line up with what I've seen year after year. So I'm a little suspicious about this. But we did find some, or at least, there were some bangers that I thought would look very good for tomorrow. MRO, Halliburton, Las Vegas Sands were like 3 of them that I thought looked very well. And I think those have shown and held up well despite the downside movement. So and then another one is Vail that's shown strength as well. So I think those have all shown the appropriate levels to take advantage of. So with that, I'm gonna leave y'all with it, and y'all have a great evening. If you got any follow-up questions, just shoot me a DM, and I'll be sure to get to your questions. All right, peace.